So 2-speed transmission with neutral. Look at that. That is some heavy smoke. That is the coolest thing I've seen. Wow. Here, just flip it. Hello everyone, I'm Lulu from Toucan Hobby, and right here I have the new 1/18 scale with a hydraulic blade. That's going to be our CUB3 from CAPO Queen. It is the T815, and there's so many awesome upgrades that we've added to this one, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it. So let's jump into it. Now let's take a look at the exterior features of our T815 over here. So this is going to be a fully metal model, except for the obvious, that would be the tires and of course parts of the fenders. But we do have this upgradable part. So this is going to be the blade as well as these two lights. In the original, you don't have it, but we've been able to add it. So these are also factory upgradable. So this is going to be full metal, kind of really thick blade. And as well, the entire cabin is going to be a metal cabin. We do have a door on the top over here that you can easily open to see on the inside. And over here for the windows, actually, that's going to be super cool because this is actually real glass over here. So we do have also windshield wipers. They're mobile. And then the glasses on the side. Now over here on the side of the cabin, we do have these movable sliding windows over here. So this is going to be simulated glass, but on the front, of course, we do have real glass for the windshield. And you can open the doors as well. But before that, we do have our adjustable side mirror over here. But the one on the top is not connected, so this one cannot be adjusted, but the one on the bottom can be adjusted. To open the door, there is a locking mechanism. You have to go down and then open. And then you can be able to see the interior of our cabin. So this cabin is going to have a dashboard with lights in it. And I'll show you guys when I turn it on. Now over here, starting with our front tire. So this is going to be a super soft tire. Look at that. And of course, the wheel hub on the center, this is going to be a metal. Just like almost everything is metal apart from the tires, and of course these fenders over here, these are going to be plastic, but everything else is going to be metal. So all the tires on this one are going to be super soft. And then over here we do have this ladder that is retractable. You can push it down and then push it all the way up again. So there's a lot of detail on this truck. On the top over here, you can see there is a simulation tank. Now this part, this is going to be for the smoke unit exhaust pipe. So it's going to be a copper one. This is an added part by Toucan Hobby. It does not come originally with the smoke unit. And this is the pipe right over here that leads the smoke from the back to the front over here to come out. So our smoke unit is actually in the back of the truck and not in the front. Now over here, we do have the storage box. So on the inside, you can easily open it by sliding it up. And we do have our 12-channel receiver that we are having housed over here. Now on the inside of this little plate, you can see it says CAPO Studio 12th Anniversary Limited Edition 2024. So this is a limited edition model. So when you do get your hands on it, it's definitely a collectible. Now on the top over here, of course, we do have our trailer part, which is a full metal part with pretty good suspension. So if you're having any heavy weights on the top over here, it's gonna be pretty easy. Now let's measure the width. So that's gonna be around 15 point something centimeters wide. And then the length is going to be around maybe 34 or 33 centimeters. Now let's go over to the back over here. First things first, we do have provision to have a rear towing hook and of course a bunch of LED lights on the back as well. So what you're going to notice is the axle on the back is a concave axle. So this is going to provide more stability whenever we have a lot of heavy weight. So see, it straightens itself out. And of course, there's going to be way more traction and stability having this. Now coming over to the left side of our truck over here, we do have this simulation oil tank, which is actually not an oil tank. You can open it and that's going to be your battery compartment. On the inside, we're going to have this normal connector here. And of course, coming back to the cabin, we do have the openable cabin doors with a lock mechanism. We do have also the steering wheel, which actually rotates, which is actually very pretty cool. And now let's check out what's under our cabin. So in order to open it, there's a tiny little lever over here that you just need to push up, and there we go, it's open. So what we have here, first things first, is this simulated V8 diesel engine, but it's absolutely not the real engine. So we do have our motor and transmission gearbox in here, 2-speed transmission with an option for neutral. Over here, that's going to be our air suspension system. So this is customized by TATRA Hobby. We do have 4 tubes over here, 2 for the first axle and 2 for the second axle. So we do have 2 systems. So this is the first one for the front 2 axles, and there's another one in the back somewhere for the last 2 axles. Over here, this is our steering servo and the light board right over there. Now let's take a look at what's going on under the chassis of our T815. So starting from the front, so we have our upgraded model version here. We do have a blade, and this is going to have 3 different actuators. They're all electric. So the first larger one on the center and 2 on each side. And coming over here, we're going to see that this first axle does have its own individual steering from this second axle, with its steering servo being located somewhere in there that I showed you under the cabin. Now for the second axle, we do have the steering servo right over here on the top, and then under that we do have the differential lock servo for only the 2 axles in the front. Now on the center of all of this, we do have our backbone tube over here. So this is a full metal piece, and over here on the center we do have our transfer case with the servo over here for the speed transmission as well. So in the back over here, we do have another a servo over here. So this servo is going to be for the differential that we have on the back to rear axles over here. And on the inside of this, we did install this customized air system for, of course, the suspension, which of course customized by TATRA Hobby. So it's going to be housed over here on the inside, since we have one in the front and one in the back. Now on the back over here, you can see on the inside in the grill, we do have the smoke unit. So it is housed on the inside, which leads the smoke all the way over here to come out at the back. And of course, we've also added a power switch over here, which when we connect the battery, I'll show you guys to use it. So we set this up with this STH controller and a 12-channel receiver, which you can get from me as well if you need to buy only the controller. So now that this is on, it's not really connected since we didn't turn on the RC itself. So turn it on from under here, and now it's connected. Now let's check out the operation and how we have this one set up. So first things first, that's going to be the light. So that's going to be SWA. When you flip it for the first time, you are going to get lights actually on the inside. So let me show you guys. Open the door. Now let's flip it again, restart. So now on. And then on your second flip, that's going to be the front lights. So over here we have 2 and 2 under there. So these, of course, are upgraded version, but they are from the factory. But we did install them over here at TATRA Hobby. And then that's going to be it for the light system that we have on this one. Now over here on the top, you can see we do have some lights. So these are going to be the indicator lights. So whenever you're steering, they're going to turn on. Now over here on the bottom, we have the VRD. That's going to be for our electric blade. So when you pull it down like this, it goes up. That's as high as it goes. And then push it down like that. It's strong enough to even be able to lift some of the weight off of the track. And now let's check out the sound system that we have installed on this one. So joystick on the right. We've got our hoop. So we also have the smoke system with the sound system. So over here, once you turn on your sound, the smoke will start getting released as well. So that is an upgrade. And of course, we do have volume control on this one. So you only need to push your joystick just halfway down to increase the volume. And then to reduce it, you gotta push it halfway up. So I'm just gonna lower it a little bit so that you guys can still be able to hear me, and of course a bit of the sound of the truck. And now let's go down to our steering. So 3 ways you can steer this. So the first way is your 2 front axles both steering on the right joystick. And now the second way is the left joystick steering only the front axle without the second axle. And then thirdly, we have VRC over here, steering only the middle axle over there. So that's 1, 2, 3. All right, now let's get to the most important and most fun part. That's going to be our air suspension. So right now we do have it raised. So this VRA over here, just flip it. And we can release all the air in here. So she's down. And then push it back. In order to lift it, so once you push here VRB to the other side, it's going to lift. So let's push. So that's going to lift the rear. Push it back to center. Now VRB over here to the front. So now here's one thing. The front is quite heavy. We do have, of course, the blades and most of our equipment over here. So it might not lift all the way. That's where the blade over here comes in. So you're going to use the blade to give you some extra power to lift. And then let the air in again for just a few seconds. Close it back up and then lift the blade. And then we're back to original. And of course, we've got suspension in the back and pivoting axles on each axle too, with suspension as well. So that's going to be on all of our axles. And of course, our suspension over here helps us when we lift heavy things. We do have really super soft tires as well, which really increases the traction for any off-road adventures that you may have. Let's turn on the engine and the sound. Try out the drive. And of course, for the rear, we do have our reversing lights, brake lights a little bit there, reversing, indicator lights as well. Really cool realistic smoke that we have on our RC over here. So 2-speed transmission with a choice for neutral as well. So right now we're in neutral. And of course, the more you drive, the more smoke you get out. So 2-speed transmission with neutral. Look at that. That is some heavy smoke. That is the coolest thing I've seen. Wow. And now this is going to be our low speed SWB pushed down. So that's going to be low speed. High speed SWP pushed up. Whoa, okay. There we go. All right, everyone. Now that was our awesome Full Metal CUB3 T815 from Capo Queen. Of course, customized by Tukan Hobby, assembled and customized here. So if you want to get yourself this awesome model, have it customized in any color that you want, you know who to come to. Me, Lulu Tracy from Tukan Hobby. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.